quick, get over here and gather around because we have something extremely exciting to go through together. Alex Becker, for the last year and a half, has been basically manipulating crypto markets. Anytime he buys into something, it's going to pump 10 million, 20 million. Even he's pumped tokens up to $100 million and 5x's, 7x's, 20x's just because he puts his name behind them. But we've had to manually track all of his wallets and all of his holdings and all of his seed investments until now. Because as you can see on his Twitter, he has added 2024 holds and partners, meaning the crypto portfolio that he's currently holding, trying to make millions of dollars in 2024. So we're going to go through this 2024 portfolio together because honestly, I believe Alex Becker can make me $20 million if I play my cards right, invest the right amount of money into the right tokens, following his trades. I don't want to go out and have to research all my own stuff. He's way smarter than me, way more connected than me. I just want to do what he's doing. So if that excites you, please hit that like button before me. Put on your Alex Becker portfolio hat and let's jump straight in. Okay, so the first part here is a letter and the second part is the list of crypto tokens. Now this letter, it's sort of valuable. I'll go through a couple of things I found really interesting, but to be honest, a lot of it just covering his own butt because he's going to be pumping a lot of these tokens and he wants to make sure that he's put out there that he is affiliated and will make money when they pump. So the first thing that picked up, he says, below is a list of projects that I am heavily invested in, advising or have been a paid consultant and partner for. A lot of different ways to say that he has been given these tokens in return for basically promotion. He says consultations a bunch of times, but I mean, we all know everyone's going to be following Becker's trades. That's the main reason he's in this. I wanted to make sure that we all are on the same page with what it means to be heavily invested in, having heavy bags or having a big spot. And basically, I've got a couple of examples. Blockchain Bets, which we'll go through in this list, he invested in recently. Actually, I'll pull up the screenshot here when he did invest in it, and it immediately 5.7x to excellent reminder of how much influence he actually has. And Blockchain Bets, he put in $100,000 into this one. Another one that he invested in was Virtue Poker, which will be on the list as we go through it. He put $20,000 in. So there's a lot of tokens here. I think his investments will probably range from about $20,000 all the way up to the big either layer ones, or I know Vulcan Forge is one of his biggest holdings. He may have a few $100,000 in those, but he's a very wealthy guy. I mean, he sold his company for $100 and something million. It's a small part of his total net worth overall. Going down into this green highlighting, he likes to say, my support comes from coaching, mentoring the team based on 10 plus years of building software and marketing with 9-figure results. I don't 100% believe that. I think he's a very bright guy. I think he's very smart. I think he's got a lot to offer. But I think the main reason that people are partnering with him is for exposure. I think we're on the same page with that. He repeats himself a couple of times saying how he's got decades of experiences making 9 figures. And of course, everyone wants his advice. I think they want the exposure because this line here, this is basically a big letter that I don't 100% agree with, but I know why he's putting it out there just to cover his butt. Even here, if you don't feel comfortable investing in projects I hold, do not invest. Okay, he told you not to invest. So it's on you if you want to invest. And use the logic in my videos to find coins you like. Now, I don't want to waste too much time here before we get into this list, but at least for me, the logic isn't really as strong as the Becker narrative. Why would you invest in something that was like a very similar token to the one that Alex Becker's behind when you know that he's going to pump that to his millions of followers and then all their followers and all their friends and family are going to jump in? It's going to be a massive cycle where it goes all the way up and all the way down again. I don't want to be in the other token that is similar to the one Becker recommended, who doesn't really ride that wave because it doesn't have the social influence. So at least for me, I disagree with this specifically. My videos receive hundreds of thousands of views, and developing your own picks is a far better way to beat the herd. Why would that be a better way to beat the herd? It's like the best way to beat the herd. I mean, it's to sign, there's a little bit of promotion here, but it's to sign up to our inner circle where we have a software that tells you exactly when Alex Becker buys these cryptos. Because beating the herd come when he tweets to them or when he makes a YouTube video about them in a bull market. And so we're looking, and you can see on Blockchain Bets here, this is Cider's Heroes. This is where Alex Becker bought, and then the herd jumps in, a few hours later once he promotes it or once the word gets out. This is when this is our software here, got the alert so we could get in and ride these highs. And the same thing you've already seen here for Blockchain Bets. Every time he buys, you get at least a 2x here. Sometimes they crash straight away, so you do have to be careful and cognizant of that. But a Becker buy in a bull market has never not 3 to 4x. Awesome. So last thing here, 85% of people lose money, again covering his butt. This is not all my investments. I made sure to add anything I have covered and am in. Now, this is a little bit of a weird where to say what I believe he's saying is things that he's covered in his YouTube videos or his Twitter, things that he's spoken about, he's made sure to add all of them, but it's not all of his investments. There's stuff that he hasn't talked about. Again, what he's saying. Again, I'm a huge fan of Alex Becker, really love Alex Becker. I don't agree with this. I know there's investments that he's talked about, such as Treeverse, that he's put $50,000 into, he's covered on his YouTube and his Twitter, along with other tokens that we're currently aware of that are not on this list below. And there are some stuff that he hasn't covered that we've picked up, he's been buying as well. But let's get into this list. So this is what it looks like. It's quite a long list. And Becker is super fast and loose, more fast and loose than even me, which honestly, I'm kind of learning here because Becker has a lot more money than I do, and I have a little bit of perfectionism, and he's just like down here, monad, blood loop. I think beams here and beams here, and it's just like, literally gone into his office and just typed a bunch of things that have come into memory, just repeated a bunch of them. So super fast and loose list, but I want to go through them one by one with you and tell you exactly what they are, give you some context, but not just context on like, what does it do? Some actual Alex Becker context. Why is he in it? And what does he want from this token? So let's jump into these and go through them together. I've actually taken this list and turned it into an Excel sheet, and I've linked up all of the tokens so you know that they're the right ones and you're not getting the wrong contract addresses or any of the fake ones, as well as putting their market cap and fully diluted value. This is available completely free, of course, in the link in the description below if you wanted to go through this as we talk about it. But let's start at the top. So ALUR is gaming infrastructure, which we know Becker is a huge fan of. And they actually did a massive rebrand because they were around in 2021. And they used to be just smart NFTs. NFTs 2.0 was their narrative. And now they have a really good social presence. They got Becker on their team. Becker actually turned $5,000 into $200,000 in the last bull run, calling about a 40x on ALUR last bull run. So it's worked really well for him. Super. This is Superverse. This is his friend ALUR Trades. I'm sure you're familiar with him, a massive crypto YouTuber, made a bunch of money in crypto, very inspiring. It's got quite a high market cap. But Alex Becker keeps talking about Superverse and how he's got an inside knowledge into it and he knows what ALUR is creating. I think it's ALUR, it might be Elliot. And he kept saying, if you knew what he was creating, you'd get in as well. So he's really bullish, and they've actually had a recent partnership with Immutable X and Polygon. Next up is Beam, which is another one of ALUR's recommendations. Now, Alex Becker gets a bunch of recommendations, again, from like upcoming launch pads, but he's got about 3 or 4 people, and I'll mention them as they come up, who he really follows and takes technical recommendations from, ALUR being probably the biggest one. But Beam is basically Immutable X, but for the Avalanche blockchain. And Immutable X is a scaling solution for Ethereum. Beam is a scaling solution for Avalanche. Now, Avalanche has a huge gaming narrative, especially with Alex Becker pushing the Avalanche narrative with gaming. And so they've done very well. They're about $1 billion market cap already, but Immutable X is at a $4 billion on Ethereum, so quite comparable. I do hold a little bit of this one personally, but it is a really high market cap. A bull run, they're all going to go up though, so we'll see how it goes. Next up is Inspect, which this is a recent one that Alex Becker has been mentioning. It's a layer 2 for Twitter, or now called X. To make it Web 3. Very intriguing. We're going to break down this one more on this channel, so subscribe if you want to go into depth in any of these tokens. If you want to go into more depth as well, the inner circle I mentioned before, where you get the software that tracks Alex Becker and other crypto influencers' wallets. We're going to go through this exact sheet and give them individual rankings, me and our head researcher, Twilly55. So if you want to go deeper, then we're going in this video. Of course, the link is in the description below for you. Blockchain Bets, a very interesting one. We've talked about this a couple of times. I've shown you the graph when he bought in 100K, but it's the gamble-fi narrative. And Alex Becker is a big believer in sports betting. I know he does a lot of sports betting. That's how we got into crypto in the first place. And Blockchain Bets is on the Binance blockchain, a relatively smaller market cap. And I think it's the biggest gamble-fi token that he's actually invested in. Then we have Virtue Poker. It was around in the last bull market. He's got about 20K in there. It's just poker version on Web3 on the blockchain. We have Beam again, a double up. Paid Network is a launch pad, and it's run by Kyle Chassis, who's a big crypto influencer as well. Becker said that he's super connected. I think a crypto OG from Bitcoin OG, should I say, from back in 2013. So he's going to probably do really big things. And you can think of this when you think of ALUR, when you think of Becker, when you think of Kyle, and they've got their own blockchains. It's sort of like what the influencers are doing outside of crypto. So if you think about Logan Paul and KSI in their prime, or you think about Mr. Beast and Feastables, they're putting a really big, well-known face who people trust to these tokens. And a lot of them are going to do really well. I actually think a lot of chains are going to go this way and have influencers as their faces. Then we have Citus Heroes. Again, you saw on this graph, Alex Becker buying in and it absolutely soaring. It is a game and they've recently launched a launch pad, but I will say, as I've got here, Twilly, our head researcher inside the inner circle, he gets the heebie-jeebies when he researches Citus, saying it just doesn't feel right to him. We'll see if he's right. Now, Vulcan Forged. At a point in time, Alex Becker said that this was his biggest crypto holding. It's a gaming studio. I'm not the biggest fan of it. Its market cap is already into the hundreds of millions. It's going to do really well in the next bull run, especially with the influencers behind it. They've actually pivoted into this next bull run to build out a whole gaming ecosystem called the Elysium blockchain. Then we have Nakamoto Games. It's a new gaming studio that absolutely defied the bear market and absolutely soared up and built a really huge cult following. Alex Becker wants to jump into that one. WAGY Games is another gaming studio. D-Race. This was huge in the last bull market for Becker. He made a lot of money. They do, however, seem to be second fiddle to Crown, which we can go down to now. Crown by Third Games is another horse racing Web3 project. It's sort of his newest, hottest project as an advisor that he's jumped on. So D-Race sort of is taking the second seat to this one. And I'll be curious to see which one wins out in the long term or if they both win. He has PAL. Now, this is absolutely a recommendation from Crypto God John, another guy we track with our wallet trackers. RealG makes a bunch of money, makes millions of dollars, has some crazy calls. I've made a bunch of money following Crypto God John, but it's an AI token. Which is a huge narrative, as everybody knows, and it's currently a $100 million market cap, and I have dived this token myself, and to be honest, I didn't love it. 100% narrative driven, and Becker's only AI holding, so it could do really well. And again, a lot of things in crypto are narrative. I've actually got a huge video, if you don't know what I'm saying, when it's like narrative driven over fundamentals or technical analysis, if you want to go watch that. But basically, it's a lot of hot air. It's a giant Ponzi scheme, and you don't want to be the last one holding the bag. You want to get in on that information, learn things that people don't know yet, get ahead of narratives, buy when the influencers buy, not the mainstream, and then get out when there's liquidity. Don't hold. You'll see those big graphs that tail off. A lot of people losing money. They'll think something like Monkey Ball, which we're about to talk about, is going to be a $2 billion company, when really it doesn't deserve that, but it's just everybody thinks it's going to be the next big thing. It's crypto. So you can make a bunch of money here, but you have to be smart. You have to know when to get in and out. Then we have AVAX. Again, everyone should know Avalanche is a huge layer one, massive recent narrative in this upcoming next bull run for gaming specifically. Solana, an even bigger layer one. It's had a massive run after the FTX stuff got over because Sam Bankman-Fried held a bunch of Solana. I think he was around or affiliated with the creation of it or something. So it absolutely crashed, but now it's bouncing back up based on actual practical use cases and not who's holding it. Chainlink. This was Crypto God John, the guy we talked about earlier's biggest call in the last bear market. He made a bunch of money on this one. I think he got 155x return, and he's still super bullish on it. It's a gaming blockchain oracle network, and there are some competitors like Super Oracle's coming out. So we will be seeing how this one goes. I do have a little bit of exposure myself, basically just because Crypto God John is so bullish on this one. IMX, we've talked about scaling solution for ETH. Big for gaming, actually, it is the biggest crypto gaming project there is out there. So if you've ridden this one to where it is, congratulations. I think it's at about a $4 billion fully diluted market cap right now. So it's already a really big project, but in a bull market, who knows how big these things can get. Then we have Monkey Ball, probably the weirdest one on this entire list. It's an old project that got launched on Star Launch, which is a launchpad, a crypto launchpad. Becker said it would do absolutely phenomenal. He's like, if you can get into Monkey Ball, get in, but it's likely you won't even be able to get in. I think I actually made a bit of money riding the first day as soon as it came out, but since then it's been absolutely downhill. It's a weird recommendation or a weird thing that he's still holding. They've done a big rebrand. I don't know. That doesn't look like they're going very far, but with Becker behind him, and if they keep signing up some influencers to push it and they have an okay product, it could bounce back, especially considering it's one of the smallest market caps on this list. And then we have Cify, which is actually our first ever paid sponsor of this channel across the Rubicon. So big thank you to Cify. If you don't know who they are a crypto launchpad specifically for the gaming niche, meaning if you buy Cify tokens, you can stake them and in return get allocations to upcoming crypto games. They're quite a big project, so they have a market cap into the hundreds of millions, and they've been around for a long time. They were huge in the last bull cycle. In fact, I would say probably about 40% of Alex Becker's recommendations in the last bull cycle were just looking at the upcoming tokens on Cify because their track record was really good. Now, you do have to be a little bit careful with some of the launchpads lockup times because sometimes the token will launch and do really well, but as a seed investor, you won't actually be able to sell it at the top and it'll bleed out and slowly go down by the time your tokens unlock. But Cify have something new this bull run, which I feel is very, very impressive. Let me know if you think it's impressive. They have a 7-day money back guarantee, no questions asked for any public sales. So if you get into the allocation and the coin doesn't do well, you can get your money back. That's impressive. So as long as you don't touch the tokens, you can get a refund. If you want to see our full breakdown on Cify and how you can get started, I'll link it up in the description below for you. But it's cool to see that Alex Becker is also bullish on Cify in this next bull run. And actually touching on that, because we've been sponsored by Cify. We've had a lot of people reach out wanting sponsorships on this channel, and Alex Becker has been a way bigger influence than us. My influence compared to Alex Becker's influence, he probably could influence a token 50 to 100 times what I can. But some of these people who are reaching out to us, some of the crypto projects who want to partner with us, they're offering what you'd consider a lot of money. So I can only imagine some of these allocations that Alex Becker must be getting could very much be into the mid 7 figures, $4 or $5 million. So we do have to make sure that we are taking these recommendations with a grain of salt, because someone walks in and offers you a $4 or $5 million. Again, this is me speculating. You're probably going to be looking for the best aspects of that project, being like, oh, this is good, but we'll make do with this. We'll improve it and push it out to the millions of followers. Then we have Shrapnel. Now, this is one of the first real AAA game sort of narratives. It has a crazy dilution. People are going nuts for this one. I personally go nowhere near. The dilution is way too risky for me. Then we have Ethereum. We should all know what Ethereum is. Please know what Ethereum is. Onto My Pet Hooligan, which is actually a 2021 NFT project. They're putting their game first and sort of like crypto second, where a lot of people put crypto first and then try and build the game once they've raised a bunch of money. It looks like a really good game, but sort of hard to know the best way to invest in this. At the moment, they're only an NFT project and their token is unlaunched, which is the same for most of the rest of these tokens here. Bloodloop, I've covered it a bunch of times on this channel. It's sort of like a Valorant, sort of Halo 5v5 style shooter game. Got a lot of hype behind it. It is a Cify launch, so you do get access to the seed round on Cify, of which, thanks to my brother, Twilly55, the head researcher inside our inner circle, we have a lot of exposure to Bloodloop, so our fingers are crossed that this one's going to be a big one. Down to Godzilla, which is a studio which has made another big AAA style game. It's called Off the Grid. They're launching their own blockchain. It's going to be called Guns. Then we have Mira, which is a Web3 gaming infrastructure. Again, Beck is really bullish on gaming infrastructure, not gaming infrastructure and studios, because they have more chances to succeed than people launching just one game. If the one game does bad, you're in trouble. If you have a gaming studio, you can launch 10 games and only one of them needs to blow up to do absolutely crazy numbers. And if you're infrastructure, you're sort of selling shovels to the gold diggers. You're selling the ability to build games to the actual game developers, and a lot of people are going to be using that. So the theory is it's better to invest in the people who actually sold the gold shovels than were actually digging for gold. You'd make more money that way. So that's why Becker loves the crypto infrastructure. Monad, a scaling solution for EVM chains. It's a layer 1 blockchain, and honestly sort of a curveball for him to include here. So I think he got a pretty decent allocation. Chrono Forge, which is a good looking game that's coming up. It's a Neo Tokyo project, his NFT community. They have launch pads in there, and it currently has NFTs out, but no token yet. We have Bloodloop and Monad. Again, this Bloodloop doesn't have a space, however, but I'm pretty sure it's the same Bloodloop. And last but not least, we have Pixelmon, which is absolutely a hilarious NFT project, which made stupid amounts of money. I'm talking $100 million sort of style, that was created by a kid in New Zealand. I think it had a really good name and he marketed it really well. But the funny thing is when the NFT reveal came, it was the grossest, funniest, most hilarious looking basic thing. Everyone was disappointed. It absolutely flopped, but actually turning this around, it's gone from being the meme of like the most hilariously stupid NFT ever to launching a token this year, having a really good looking website, having a really good looking roadmap. And so there's a lot of people, including Alex Becker clearly, that are really excited for them to make a comeback to that full circle. And with Palworld's success, I don't know if you've been watching Palworld, we're actually going to break Palworld down and what it means for the crypto gaming community in probably our next video. So make sure you are subscribed to get that. That success story is very bullish for something like Pixelmon. Now, once again, if you want the complete list that Alex Becker has published in this nice form, it's in the description below for you. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.